Hello, everybody. Once again, my name is Mark Walters. I'm the event manager of Dallas Comic Con's Fan Days. Thank you very much for coming out today. Are you guys as big of a Breaking Bad fan as I am? I'm just curious. Well, I got to tell you, one of the heartbreaking parts of my job is being able to bring all these people here and not being able to be up here and like do the Q&As with them. So I brought the very lovely Julie Fisk. Now, Julie, for you that are not familiar, you may hear her in the morning on KVIL, Zaza and Julie. This is Julie. Hey! She's also CBS radio film critic. She's outside of myself probably one of the biggest Breaking Bad fans that I know. So I wanted to have her do this Q&A and be extremely jealous of her later. It's going to win me so many points. So I think it's safe to say that if you're not caught up with Breaking Bad, there's going to be spoilers probably during this Q&A. So just be aware of that. So you can't complain later and say, well, you know, I didn't see that episode. So, but I figure that's why you're here, because you have seen it and you love it. So without further ado, I'm going to let Julie handle this. Let's introduce Giancarlo Esposito and Charles Baker, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, just so you know, I set the Altoids out right here. If you ever feel the need to grab one, help yourselves.
Cool.
I am so excited. I was just telling you guys in the back, and I'll tell everyone, this is the very first time I have ever moderated, and I'm so excited to be here. I might spontaneously wet my pants or burst into swear words. If that happens, please forgive me. But when I found out that you were both going to be here, especially, here it is, just a week, not even a full week, since the season finale. Just give us an idea. What has your life been like this past week since that explosive series finale, the end of Breaking Bad? And Charles, we'll start with you.
I don't know about Gus. I haven't slept much. It's been kind of crazy. This show has just been such an amazing experience for me. I don't know if you guys know. I'm from here. I did most of my episodes in Breaking Bad from Fort Worth, Texas. I booked the job here.
Local actor, Kitchen Dog Theater. Totally involved with the local theater scene, Kitchen Dog Theater as well.
Yes. Tina Parker, who played Saul's secretary. Francesca, she's artistic director at the Kitchen Dog Theater in Dallas. We've had a lot of Texas actors on this show, in fact. A lot of the smaller roles have come out of Texas, and I'm just really proud of that fact. But
absolutely.
This show is just, I was here, didn't know anybody in the business, just kind of doing what I do, go to do this show, and next thing I know, last week I'm on Conan and Jimmy Kimmel, and it's all because of you guys, and I can't believe it.
What about you, Giancarlo? What has this week been like for you?
Oh, it's been crazy. Everyone seems to be talking about this fantastic show, Breaking Bad. And all across America, 10.3 million or between 10.3, 10.6 million viewers for a show that started out as the little engine that could. It's just swept over the country. What's happened for me is I've been traveling a lot, also doing a bunch of different shows, Arsenio Hall and the morning show in LA, and then Talking Bad for the final episode that was shown at the Hollywood Cemetery on the wall.
Wow.
It's really amazing. So I've been on planes where people have just backed away from me and go, oh my God, it's Gus, please don't hurt me. And I go, don't whine or I'll box you to death. So it's been a great experience.
Well, and I wanted to talk to you, Charles, because you actually have been on the show since the very first season. You're one of the few characters that has been on every single season, correct?
Yes, and apparently only 6 of us actually lived from the beginning to the end. Woo!
So what did you think when you found out that you were going to be able to be in that very last episode?
Oh, that was such a relief, man. I didn't know when I was going to be in an episode. They would call me maybe 4 days before an episode and tell me, hey, are you available? And I'm like, yeah, I quit every job I've had just so I can be available for the last 6 years. Trust me, I'm available. But when they called and said I was going to be in the finale, I just passed out, man.
So, and I heard that they did not let you keep the Skinny Pete cat.
No, they didn't. I asked them, like, everyone's like, you should just steal it. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, I don't steal, man. I don't want them to, like, never hire me again. So I didn't take the hat. And so finally, the last episode, I went to them humbly and said, could I please have the hat? And they went, no.
I got some advice for you.
Yeah.
Always take the hat.
Just-
Oh, it's
But the reason they said it wasn't going to go, because they were holding on to it in case it got put into the Smithsonian.
They always say that
They
shit.
always say that. Damn it! I fell for it. I was totally believing that, going, okay, never mind then, keep it. I hope to see it next to Fonzie's jacket someday.
But
That's
on
good.
the offhand that it could be in the Smithsonian, I would leave it with them.
Yeah, that's exactly the thought.
I like the Gus advice, though.
Yes.
It's like, do it and then apologize
Do it.
later if you get caught.
You never ask.
So, Giancarlo, because you came in a little bit later on Breaking Bad, so when you went in and you were reading for Gus, were you already familiar with the show? Were you a fan?
I was not. I didn't know about the show. They actually offered it to me, and I was doing quite a few guest spots and didn't want to do any more guest spots. And my manager, Josh Kesselman, convinced me that I should at least look at the show. So I said, send it to me, and send it to me fast, and he did. And when I watched it, it was magic for me. And the magic was in the incredible writing and the concept of the show. But then it was capped off with the incredible cast.
Yes.
Everyone was just so stellar, and I wanted to be a part of that. So I did a guest spot, and before I got off the plane, it was the end of season 2. Before I got off the plane home, my phone was ringing off the hook when I landed, saying, would you come right back and do the last episode of season 2? And I said yes, and then when I got there, they said, well, would you come back in season 3? And I said, look, I might. It just depends on if you will accept me as a member of this family. Season 3 comes around, and they call and say, would you do 7? And I said, nope. They said, would you do 11? And I said, nope. They said, come on, we only do 13. And I said, okay, I'll do 11, and I wound up doing 12, and I just became immediately a part of that Breaking Bad family. But as I said to Vince, I saw there was one thing that he wrote, hiding in plain sight. And I was very interested in creating a character that was hiding in plain sight. Because on one hand, I could be very graceful and very nice and very humble and appear to be gracious. And on the other hand, I could be the kingpin that runs an incredible business, who is, in a way, just handling a business.
Right.
And I also did the show because I wanted to be a part of making a statement on the drug culture that we have in America. I felt even though I was the guy who was distributing the drugs, I wanted to be a part of opening that up so we see what's going on
Right.
in America.
Well, and also that even when it's dressed up, that it's still bloody, that there is still going to be death involved. Now, you're talking about coming back. Who are you waving at? Look at you. We're talking about coming back. There's so many questions now about Better Call Saul. And if Better Call Saul is going to be in the future, what are the odds of us seeing some of these characters who are no longer with us, like Gus, or maybe even Skinny Pete, even, he's still around. What are the odds of you guys turning up on Better Call Saul?
Well, I think if it's a prequel to Breaking Bad, then it's a very distinct possibility. Absolutely. And this guy will be in it because he's the good luck charm.
Yes.
Yeah. Although I know they're formulating all their ideas, and the only person really attached right now that I know of is Bob Odenkirk, I certainly would jump at the chance to be able to work with Vince Gilligan and those great folks again.
Anytime.
That's something I wanted to ask, and it's one of the reasons that we love hearing everyone involved with Breaking Bad. That's why you're doing all the shows, is because you speak about each other with such tenderness. Anytime you talk about Bryan Cranston, Vince Gilligan, there's just such love and admiration. Is there anyone on the show you hate? And if so, would you tell us about that? Because that's what we want to hear. I'm kidding. That's what I want to hear.
Well, I can't say there's anyone I hate on the show, even though they're characters that I never actually got a chance to play with. The show is so well-rounded, and it is everyone. Actors love to act, and sometimes when you get a powerful actor as a scene partner, you move over to their side, you move over to their energy. But on this particular show, all the actors, really owned the ground they walked on, and that's what makes great acting. And so everyone played well. They had that little box, when they check you off for your job interview, does he or she play well with others? Everyone played well with each other.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite scenes, and I just went back and watched it this morning, there was a scene where Skinny Pete is in a guitar store, playing the piano, playing a keyboard. Then you're playing Furley's.
Yes.
And it is just beautiful. And there was just this wonderful moment where you're like, wait a minute, Skinny Pete's not a dirtbag. There's more going on here. There's so much more to this character.
Right.
And I know that you're a musician as well. In fact, you started acting to kind of pay your way for the music thing, correct?
Yeah.
So are
yeah.
you going to keep doing the music? Are you going to push that any further now?
I'm trying. Yeah, I played solfeggietto
Is-
on that one, and I was really thrilled that they gave me that opportunity to actually show off what I could do. You can imagine being on the greatest drama in television and being the most one-dimensional, stupid-ass character. It was a little kind of depressing for both me and Matt Jones, who played Badger, because we're like, we don't get to do anything cool. Like, keep it as one-dimensional as possible. Sorry, don't try and show anything. And so when they let me actually play the piano, when they told me I was going to do that, I cried a little bit. Because that's, I mean, like he was talking about showing people this drug culture, that's the other part of it. Lives are ruined by this stuff. And people who were otherwise very talented, very lovely people became horrible human beings because of this stuff. And that's, like he was saying, playing druggies isn't something I'm proud of so much as something I do because we're telling a story. And in order to tell a story, you have to have the bad guys and the lowlifes and the scumbags and the idiots. And just being able to tell such a great story like this and be a part of that was just incredible. But yeah, I want to keep the music going.
You know,
as much
you
as I
could
can.
you could sell out the Majestic. You could, I mean, yeah.
It'd only be
work
like
the
3
Skinny Pete
songs,
thing.
so you'd be like,
That's okay. Well, let's go ahead. If people would like to go ahead and line up at the microphones for some questions, we can go ahead and start lining those up. But Giancarlo, I did have another question for you because recently you have developed a habit of playing sociopaths, and you do it so well. You do it so well. But you have such a fantastic range. It's so funny. I went on Facebook yesterday and told everyone that I was going to be talking to you guys, and people were sending me clips, all their favorite Giancarlo clips, and there was one from Sesame Street.
Oh my goodness.
The camp counselor from Sesame Street.
Mickey.
Man, that is fantastic. So now that you're just playing these really intense roles, what's your desire to push forward to now?
Well, I'm doing a show now called Revolution.
Yes, fantastic.
Which is
Yes.
it's a wonderful show, and I jumped at the opportunity to create a new character named Tom Neville, and it was a little bit daunting because everyone asked, what are you going to do after Breaking Bad? And they want to compare.
Right.
And because that's what we do as human beings, we compare. My God, how will he ever go beyond this? How will she ever, be better than that? And what I love about Revolution is we're on our second season shooting in Austin, Texas. So, yeah. And I moved to the Lone Star State, so I live there now. So I'm digging Texas.
Yeah.
But in our second season, I'm really finding my stride as Tom Neville. And what I love about him is that he's an enforcer, and he does the work himself, whereas Gus was very reserved and delegated and was a businessman. Tom Neville is much more emotional, takes matters into his own hands. He's very smart, he's very shrewd, but he basically kills people. So I got some notches on my gun, and I'm a little bit, I'm happy about that. I get a chance to really play kind of an action guy, which is really a lot of fun. But after this, I think I want to do a comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or I want to play piano too.
Yeah. Right on.
And I have to tell you, I did radio in Albuquerque for a few years. And did you guys get to spend time out there? Were you able to get some of the green and red chilies?
I did, and I love a place called Loyola's a lot. I love the Christmas mix of
The
chili.
Christmas mix, there you go.
I love pozole is one of my favorites. I really dig Albuquerque, and I think that's part of the reason I was able to create Gus in the way I did, because I think that what we do as actors and what we do as musicians or singers is focus our attention. And when you focus your attention, it is very similar to a prayer or a meditation. You're able to leave space. You're able to make a statement. You're able to move people from one place to another for the right reason, to get them to think, to get them to feel. And when I went to Albuquerque, I got off the plane, something inside me said to me, I would be there for a while, and I would be in creation. We live in a world of creation, and no matter what you do, some of us don't look at what we do as creating, but everything you do is creating. Everything you do is shared. There's a shared consciousness about everything that we do. The reason you're in this room is because you heard a couple of guys from Breaking Bad would be here, and a very beautiful lady would be here who you hear on the radio.
They
But
did come
your
to see me.
consciousness has been brought here for a certain reason. It's a pointed and focused Breaking Bad reason. So why not bring that to everything that you do in life? Because what we have is right here, right now, is to share. We've shared it through a visual responsibility as being a part of a great show that commanded our attention for many different reasons, but it focused all of us on one thing. Think about what you could do in your life if you could focus what your God-given, divine-given gift is. And that gift is simply to share the best of who you are. So part of what happened for me in Albuquerque was I felt the energy of the place. And the energy of the place dropped my energy down, and I said, don't do anything. I gave myself a sort of what I do with every role. I give myself an assignment like I'm in school. And it's only one thing, because although we think we can multitask, we can't put all of our attention on one thing if we're trying to do two things at once. So I said to myself, with every part I do from the rest of my life, I'm going to pick one thing. And for Breaking Bad, for Gus, I picked relaxation. I picked doing nothing. I picked being a better listener than a talker. So now, even though I'm not saying anything, I'm listening to you.
You.
I'm feeling your body language. I'm looking into your eyes and catching up with your energy. And that is a practice. So, in essence, to achieve your goal, no matter what it is, you must practice it mentally, physically, and every single day. And then you'll move forward.
Wow.
I gotta say, if you ever get tired of the whole acting thing, you can be a motivational speaker, okay? Because that was profound. Okay, I can't see through the lights, so let's start over here, number 49. So say your name and who's the question directed to, please?
Hi, my name's Larry, and yesterday I got to talk with Charles for a little bit. And anyways, I just wanted to say my wife, she's from New Mexico. She went to Albuquerque, UNM.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's just cool to watch the show, and every time I see something that looks like a landmark, I always want to ask her if she ever remembered seeing that there. And one of the things she was talking about was the car wash that they owned there. And the one thing I wanted to ask is, Charles, what is something you have plans of doing soon as another character you want to do? I know I saw you on Blacklist, which we talked about,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool getting
Another
to see
great
you
show.
wink at
Yeah.
the agent.
Yeah.
So.
It was The Blacklist is my next show that I'm doing right now with James Spader. I like to say if James was Batman, thank you. I'm his Alfred. I'm not in the whole series. I just come in and out. A lot like Skinny Pete did, but this guy actually knows how to spell. He wears a suit. Supposedly I'll be driving his Bentley when they bring the Bentley to the set, and I can't wait for that part. I hope they let me practice for a little bit. And then after that, I'm doing a show with Tom Felton, who's also here, called Murder in the First, and that's on TNT. And I'm playing another kind of similar to Skinny Pete kind of character. I'm playing a drug addict. But yeah, I'm with Giancarlo. I'd love to do a comedy. I'd love to do like some silly, goofy sitcom, and where I'm actually supposed to be funny and not just incidentally funny because I'm stupid. And I really want to do a musical type project. But I want it to be the right one. It has to be a great one before I'm gonna take that risk.
I really hope that happens for you. I'd love to see you do that. And,
Thank you.
and I'm going to hug the mic again real quick. It's really interesting, and both of you ending up on really critically acclaimed, wonderful TV shows now. And so, Charles, what is it like for you? You go from working with Bryan Cranston, just such an intense, fantastic actor, to now James Spader. It's like, what are you getting? What are you learning from these men?
Everything I can.
I'm sure.
I mean, just like sitting here and listening to this. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like taking notes.
I know.
I'm like, where's my notepad?
Did anybody record that? That was brilliant.
That's how I learn, is by watching and paying attention. And I'm self-taught in pretty much everything I do. I taught myself how to play piano. I never actually had an on-camera acting class. I went to theater, I did plays, and that was my learning experience. I worked at the Hip Pocket Theater in Fort Worth, Texas under Johnny Simons, which, okay, if you want to be an actor in this business, if you just want to learn what acting is, go work for Johnny Simons. He is brilliant. He taught Brent Spiner. He's taught a couple of other well-known actors whose names just escaped me, or else I would have said their names. He was a professor at Duke University. He's the writer and founder of the Hip Pocket Theater, and he's brilliant. But he taught me a lot about that moment of stillness, that focus, and really like staying in tune with what you're doing. And that's what watching Brian work every day, watching these guys. When I couldn't be on set with Giancarlo at all, but I would watch the episodes with him, and I was just dumbfounded at how brilliant this guy played that role.
Amazing depth.
And then
Yeah.
it is a study in acting just to watch these people, and that's the same with James Spader. I'm the luckiest dude in the world, quite frankly. I mean, I keep just grabbing onto these coattails and just going along for the ride, and it's been brilliant. I'm just in awe.
That's fantastic. Okay, I can't see you over here, but I see somebody at the mic.
Yeah.
Tell us your name and who you want to talk to.
My name is Isaac, and this question's kind of angled at both of you. First of all, I loved the Star Trek talk between Skinny Pete and Badger. That was great. I guess my question is, what is the craziest thing y'all have ever had to get signed? And has anyone tried to ever sneak a box cutter past security to get you to sign it?
I'll let you get that one.
Well, so I was in Wilmington, North Carolina working, and I was at a TV station where I had just done an appearance, and one of the young guys gave me a box cutter and then had to get called back to his station. So I wound up having it in my bag as I went to the airport. So it was me. So I sneaked the box cutter through security. And the guy looks at me and says, "Really?" And he says, "I know you got juice and all, but really?" And guess what? He let me go through with it. So I get through security, and I turn around and I go, "Really?"
What about you? And wait, real quick, Giancarlo, because you were talking about North Carolina. When I posted yesterday I was going to be talking to you, one of my friends in North Carolina said, he was just in my bar and he's the nicest man ever.
Oh, wow.
So go back to Fibbers. I think you'll
must
get
have been
free
drunk.
drinks there. Yeah. Okay, what about you, Charles? What's the weirdest thing you've had to sign?
Yeah, I can't really say I've had to sign anything weird. I signed a few bags of blue meth for people here. Rock candy, sorry.
Candy,
That's probably about the strangest thing. Now, I was in Atlanta, Georgia, shooting a show called 187 Detroit that didn't last very long, and ran into a guy who was a chemistry student, and he's like, "Man, I got my own recipe that you're just gonna love." I'm like, "No, whoa, la 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 la." I'm an actor, folks. If I actually did that stuff, they wouldn't be giving me the job.
I was going to ask you guys that, if anybody ever approached you and was like, "Hey, I know where the good stuff is."
A little more than I ever want to know,
Oh.
yes. Please don't offer me drugs.
It's good to know.
Don't.
It's good to know. Okay, our next question over
Thanks.
here. Tell us your name and who you want to talk to.
Hi, my name's Nick. I really just want to say you guys are tremendous at what you guys did on Breaking Bad.
Thank you.
Even though Skinny Pete was the idiot and everything like that, he did have a major role, as far as the effect he had on Jesse and stuff like that. And I think I do speak for a lot of the people here when I say that Skinny Pete and Badger, even with how low life they were fan favorites because of the Star Trek talk and all
Thank
that
you,
stuff
guys.
too. So fantastic job with that.
Thank you.
And Giancarlo, I've started seeing you on Revolution and everything, and so it's just amazing to see the switch that you've been able to make from how you did with Gus over to Thomas on Revolution, and that's just fantastic too. So I mean, you guys are amazing at what you do. But really, I just wanted to know, Giancarlo, can you do the yell?
Oh, the yell at the end?
Yes.
I don't know if I can do it without an explosion. You got a bomb?
Well, as a matter of fact, Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's fantastic. That's a good point, though. I'm glad you brought that up because it seemed like they could have put anybody into the roles of the druggy friends. But you guys really did bring some layers to them, and they were always fun to watch. So, yeah, definitely don't ever feel bad about
it. I mean, I don't know, no spoilers. Some of you may not have caught up to the last episode, but the scene in the car is amazing to me. Because it brings up, it's not, I would beg to differ. I was told that you had to do your worst acting school of acting before you can graduate and really connect with what you're really feeling inside and render it real. But this last scene in the car brings up all the moral issues from two of the ne'er-do-wells you would think of the show, and it showed actually how smart you are.
Wow.
And that moment for me was really resounding. This last episode of Breaking Bad really brings everything all the way around, full circle, all the questions that were asked, where is this, where is that, how does this connect? But the great moments were human moments.
Yes.
Where these two guys, one looks at the other and goes, wait a minute, I don't know if this feels right, basically, without spoiling anything. And you go, wait a minute, how is he saying that?
Yeah.
But you believe every moment of it, and it's brilliant.
There was a
Thank you so
2-hour version of Breaking Bad on YouTube for people to catch up. And I watched a little bit of that just because I love the show. I'm like, I'll watch a condensed version. I don't care. But that's what it took out were all those wonderful little human moments. It had the big ones, but the things that caused you to really connect with the characters were taken out. So I was like, no. Just go back and watch the whole show. Yeah. Okay, you over here with the tie.
I actually have a question. It's more on the Star Trek thing. If J.J. Abrams actually approached you, Skinny Pete, and the actor that played Badger, and he actually wanted to actually make that thing actually happen, would you guys actually want to be a part of it? Or, I mean, would you have like a Jay and Silent Bob kind of thing come, like, where you guys like walk across in the background and go, church?
If J.J. Abrams asked me to do a puppet show at a park, I'd be right there, man. I'd be there.
All right, thank you.
Somebody tell
Hey,
JJ
what
about that.
me? I'm working for JJ.
Well, Gus, I'm sorry. You're kind of intimidating in real life, sir. Okay. But you were amazing on the show, and one of the main reasons I actually did get into the show, I wasn't so sure in the first 2 seasons, but as soon as you showed up, I was just like, now there's a villain I really like.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm dying to get in that. That's the reason why I mentioned it. He produces the show I'm doing now called Revolution, and everyone has been telling me you got to be in that. And so every week I make a phone call. It's like a big joke. Every single week I call. What about JJ? Well, they haven't gotten to cast that role yet. They're still casting the younger roles. I'm like, come on, what about JJ? So every week I call, and they haven't gotten to it yet. So I'm hoping that maybe it's a possibility that on my hiatus I could be doing Star Trek.
Oh,
Boy,
there you
and
go.
That's a good hint right there. Never wait for them to call you. Make that call every single week until it happens.
I didn't know we could do that.
No, you got to be proactive because I believe that the universe hears you when you ask.
Yeah.
We think that it takes all this effort.
That's exactly.
You put it in the universe, and collective thinking changes the game. So what you do today changes your tomorrow. If you spend 5 minutes today working on what your dream is, you put that together over a month and a year, you're putting out there that that's what you're asking for. And eventually, it comes to you. You're attracting it. It's that simple. You don't need a cell phone. You don't need a computer. You need to put it out there verbally. I would like this. Simply ask.
Be specific though.
Yep.
Because I found it's like I want to be in a movie, and so I'm in a movie. It's a horrible movie. It's like, okay, I want to be in a good movie with really good people. So yeah, be careful how you ask for it.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, what about you over here?
My name's Logan. Let's see if okay, there we go. Okay, I just want to say both of you guys are tremendous actors. Like
Thank you.
number 59 over there said.
49.
49, sorry.
Whatever.
I mean, I did theater in high school, and I had to play the dumb person sometimes. And it takes like a lot more work than people think.
Sometimes it
it's
does.
a lot harder than they think.
Yeah.
And I have like a request for Giancarlo. I forgot how to pronounce his name.
Giancarlo.
Can you say one of my favorite lines? I will kill your infant daughter.
I will kill you.
And I actually had like a question, if that's okay. Also, in the last scene of your death, Was it like CGI or makeup? If it was makeup, like how long did it take to do?
It was a long process. I was shooting an episode. I had done Box Cutter 401. I knew I wasn't coming back in 402 because the audience probably couldn't handle seeing me, and so I wasn't in that episode. 403, I came in. I got called into Vince's office, and I knew, this is not good. You don't want to get called into the principal's office.
Yeah.
And I knew I was okay because I thought I was doing decent work. And so I go into Vince's office, and we're sitting there talking, and he gets up and says, "Excuse me a minute. I just want to close the door." No, don't close the door.
Don't close the door, please, Vince. Don't.
Sit down. And he went and sat down. He got a little uncomfortable. And then we're talking a little more about me possibly directing in the next season and all that. He gets up again and says, "I'm just going to close." No, don't close the door. And it happened a third time, and I went full-on Gus mode, stood up, stared at him. I said, "Don't close the door." And then he got really uncomfortable. Like so he went back to sit down, and I busted out laughing, let him close the door, and we discussed how he said to me, "Look, the town's not big enough for both you and Walt. We love you. We didn't expect you to be around this long. What might he be doing?" We had this whole conversation. If in fact this happened or that happened, I said, "I don't see him getting shot." He said, "Well, what if he had, an explosive ending?" and I said, he said, what might he be doing? So I'm always fidgeting with my clothes as Gus, making sure I'm appropriate, fixing my tie. And he said, "Fixing your tie, I really like that." I said, "Well, I do that all the time." And we decided on that. Well, that led to a whole trip to California, to K&N, getting a head cast made, head and shoulder bust.
Oh, God, that's no fun.
Oh my gosh. You can't hear anything. They put straws in your nose to breathe. Your ears are clogged up. And that takes about a 2-hour process. They took that off. I left. They put a prosthetic on the head mold and created a prosthetic that would eventually go on my face. And then on the day, Howard Berger, Academy Award winner for Narnia, came out, applied it. Took 4 hours. Then we shot it. And then they dotted the actual prosthetic with little red dots as markers so that they could eventually add in a little CGI so that the jaw could move. So that was the whole process.
And by the way, if you do a Google image search on that, I have seen the prosthetic online before, so you can see pictures of that.
Wow,
So give
cool.
that a shot.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so over here, say your
Excellent.
name first, please.
Hey, my name is Justin. I'm not going to ask you what your favorite cereal is. Don't worry about that. But I was wondering if there was, for each of you, if there was a particular moment that you felt really defined your character, or was just your favorite moment per se, and then like for each other to kind of like switch roles and be like, "Oh, I thought that this was like my favorite moment from you."
Wow.
If that makes sense.
For me, I was brought in just to do the one episode in the first season for episode 4.
Wow.
And it was like 3 lines, and then I was supposed to be done. And typically when you're that kind of day player actor, once you do that on a show, you never get to come back. And so it's like, I did an episode of Prison Break, little tiny bit camper guy on Prison Break, and that was like, I could never come back. I couldn't get a bigger part and do it again. So I thought it was done. And then they called me back and said, "Yeah, you're coming back to do another episode." And I was like, oh my God. And I got the script, and in the script, I was originally called Skinny Stoner. And in my second script, it said the first few lines when Jesse says, "You sure you're tight with this guy?" And I say, "2 nuts in a ball sack, yo." The script said Skinny Stoner. And then the next line is, where I come up to the guy at Skinny Stoner. And then it says, I go up to him and I say, "Yo, I'm Skinny Pete." And then after that, in the script, it says Skinny Pete. I have a name now. I'm a member of this cast. And so, yeah, that was me just saying, "Yo, I'm Skinny Pete," was like, that was it for me. That was like, now I'm in. Woo!
That's fantastic, though, because that's when it crosses over from, oh, this is about great writing, this is about a great story. Oh, this is about a great actor making a great character. It's like, then that's where you're involved and you took it somewhere, and that's fantastic.
That's exactly right. It's a creation. I always say that I was so inspired. I was inspired to do Breaking Bad by seeing its excellence. But by then, the one thing that defined my vision from the very beginning was hiding in plain sight. There are probably many people in America who hide in plain sight. I'm in Texas, right? I'm working on Revolution. And all of a sudden I realized, I looked around one day when I went out with the cast, and I wondered, we were in a public place, and I went, oh, I wonder how many people in this room right now are packing, have heat on them. I mean, we're in the Wild Wild West out here. We're in Texas.
Yep.
And I went, oh, then I got it. You know what I mean? People wearing little jackets and whatnot. I never thought about that. Like when you think about beeping somebody on the street because they cut you off, and they don't do that a lot in Austin. They seem very nice there. But if you thought about doing that, wouldn't you think about somebody who had probably 80% of the population has a pistol on them? You know what I mean? They don't care I'm Gus. I got a box cutter. They got a pistol. You know? You know? So I'd much rather be my guy in Revolution, you know, with my Desert Eagle in Texas. You know, I'd rather have that reputation. But that was it. Hiding in plain sight. And then my defining moment, you know, all those early Gus scenes in Los Pollos Hermanos were the ones. Because if I created a guy who was so, can I get you something else? Is your meal okay? You know, that guy, I knew that guy. I used to be a waiter. I used all the experience of my life. Then I could create the other guy that was behind that mask. But the defining moment for me was never make the same mistake twice. This guy tells Walt, you know, we're not alike. That was the defining moment. We're not at all alike. Your partner was stoned. You know, basically he's saying to him, you don't know how to do this. And that was the whole clue for me. And then from there, I became the teacher then. I wasn't only the guy hiding behind the mask, I was the teacher. And he was a different kind of teacher because he wasn't your average, you know, slinger on the corner, yo. He was the cat who was, you don't use your own stuff. This is a business. He could be selling laundry detergent, and that's when it clicked in for me. This guy was a mogul. It just happened to be blue meth. So you find your way into the character. But lastly, I'll say, what happened for this man was he said something that connected with his heart, and he inspired the writers. So all of a sudden they went, wait a minute, he just said who he is. He claimed it because he was inspired by them. It's a collaboration. And little do you know it, things that come out of your mouth that are indicative and original to you inspire other people. And that's what's going on. That's what life's about. It's looking to find that inspiration in each other and serving that up.
I feel fairly certain that Giancarlo needs to write a book. You're really good at this.
I'd read it.
Okay, our next question, please.
Hi guys, my name is Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hi. Charles, I just had a comment for you. I thought that you and Badger were very much like a Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to
Thank
Justice
you. That's
Hamlet.
an honor, man. Thank you.
And I had a question for Giancarlo, mostly about how much you guys fleshed out Gus's backstory, because there were two things that I had questions about. One, was Gus gay?
Yeah.
Because he definitely seemed like he had more than just a business affection for his friend that was killed.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question because I feel like the way I try to answer it is from my heart. One thing I love about Gus is that he brought people to their best selves. He cultivated chemists. He took Max off the street in El Salvador. That was the backstory. And he put him through school because that was Max's dream. The agreement was that Max was a partner. He did have the recipe for chicken. They were very, very close, but his dream was to be a chemist. And Gus helped him get to that place. With Gail, the same thing. He was cultivating someone's desire to better themselves. And when I answered this question, he had a great affection for Max. I made no decision as a character whether or not Gus and Max were lovers. Because of the way we look and the attitudes that we foster in terms of our place that we call America, the home of the brave and the land of the free, we still can't accept people when they're gay. So I wanted you to make up your mind. And that's why every time I'm asked this question, you know, I come from an Italian family where my father used to just kiss me on the lips when I was a teenager. The Italians kiss on each cheek. You know, their affection. When I go to Italy, men hold hands with each other. And if we from America look at that, we go, oh man, those guys are gay, but they're not gay at all. They're just close friends. So things get misconstrued. So I would say in my head, I didn't play Gus as being gay. In fact, when they took photos of my own children to put on the wall at his house, I had your moment. Yeah, I'm gonna be around. I'm a regular. Those are my kids on the wall. I'm gonna have a wife. I'm gonna have. He never did see. I never made it there. But I was like, got really excited because once I had a home and inviting someone for dinner, there must be kids. There must be a wife. I'm gonna be around for a while. They're gonna develop my storyline, you know. But to answer your question, I made no decision. I wanted Gus, if anything, to be androgynous. But I always thought he had a wife. But that was a question I think that was left open. He could be, he might be. What do you think?
Thanks very much.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Okay, over here, our first woman.
I know. First
Hello.
lady. Okay. Hi, my name's Ashley. I don't know about anyone else in this room, but sometimes while I was watching, I found myself really questioning my morals.
Yes.
Sometimes I was like, why can Skylar just not let Walter cook meth? And I was wondering if there were any points in the whole show that you were in, or you saw Brian or Aaron in, that you saw that gray line and you saw people skirting in and out around it, that you really enjoyed, or you found yourself going, oh, well, I can see that, or I'm more on the quote-unquote bad guy side?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's a great question. The
Yeah.
whole story of Breaking Bad that I love so much is that it questions not only the morals of the characters in the show, it questions all of our morals.
And what are morals?
And what are they? Exactly right. See, the truth is the truth. It doesn't change. We justify our change around it because we want to feel okay about ourselves, right? So you got to think about our country and how we serve each other up. Do you tell the truth? Do you foster the truth? Or do you stand up for the truth or not? Or look, listen, a white lie. How can you, a white lie is a lie, right? But we have a white lie. See, so we can cross a little bit and go, it's okay to lie because if I told you I really didn't like your dress, it might hurt your feelings. But if you ask me, do you like this, and I don't, and I say I do, I already have gone against myself. Now, you can find a graceful way to say, you know, that is not as becoming as something else. Why don't you try something else? Well, no, just tell me the truth. We ask each other, tell me the truth. Yet, we still don't tell each other the truth. Why? Because we're afraid. And there is no fear except healthy fear or the fear of your life. That's the only fear you should have. That's why we don't move forward, is because we can't move through a simple thing like we have fear of all these things that don't even matter. So I say be courageous and find out what your morals are. That's why I did this show. Because, you know, and I question Gus's because he's in a business and he's very obviously has sort of separated himself from the product he sells because the demand is there. He is that guy who has observed capitalism in America and said, I'm going to capitalize on that. But how could you do something, give something, sell something that will hurt or harm a person because they have no control over it? But that's what we do. That's business. Sorry, you can use until you die. But that's business. I got your money in my pocket. I'm good. Sorry about you. So it's a big, huge moral question that Breaking Bad has put forth, and it's wonderful. I love the fact that Walter stands over buckets of money that he can't do nothing with, that he wants, you know, and in the last episode, there's some great moments where the offer comes up and he doesn't hesitate to do what he has to do, and that's when he has his epiphany. The whole 6 years, all he wants, it's greed, it's greed, it's greed, it's greed. And finally, he realizes that's empty. It's not going to fill him up. He has ruined his life. So he does a few good things because he has to, he feels it in his heart. But in the end, was it worth it? So you got to ask that question of yourselves. You know, what path are you on? How do you treat your neighbor? How do you treat each other? And how do you look at all the violence that we viewed in the show, which is non-gratuitous, which goes on in our world? How will you stand up surrounding that? What side will you fall on?
Well, let me ask you, Giancarlo, what do you think about the possibility that the show is so good that people don't notice that question, that they get so caught up in the personalities in the story that they forget to ask themselves those moral questions?
It's very, very possible.
I sometimes would not be mad at Walt until somebody pointed out that I was supposed to be mad at Walt, because I would be so excited about the show.
The whole show is about someone who loses their soul, in a way, and then hopefully finds a bit of it before they leave. Hopefully gets reconnected with who they really are, no matter if they have a disease or not. And I understand what you mean. You know, we are weaned on violence. We grew up on it. That's what's happening. But when I saw a character in the latest episodes of Breaking Bad get shot, and it wasn't a huge, loud shotgun explosion, it was a little pop. That's really
Oh my
real.
gosh, that scene.
That was chilling to me.
Yes,
because that was
I totally
the real
understand.
deal. And that hit me where it hurt.
Yeah.
You know,
And that's what it should have done.
that next morning when I woke up after seeing that episode, I woke up and remembered like it had happened in real life,
Right.
and I was bummed out the whole day. It's like, God, Hank.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Thank you. Okay, let's move over to our next question. Yes, you.
My name is John, and I have a question for both of you. What was your last days on set like?
Well, we know what my last day was like.
Explosive.
Like, emotionally, so to speak.
Go ahead.
Mine was really freaky because I'm sitting there, I do my little bit, and then they go and they put all this stuff on me, and so I'm actually my good face off, my good side of my face is here, and Howard finished, and I turned this way, and it was just absolutely mind blowing to look at. But when I stepped out of the trailer, what was really freaky was all of the crew and cast who wanted to take a photograph with me.
Oh.
That just blurred the line for me, and I was like, well, wait a minute, what if it gets out? No one even cared. They were like, it was just so weird. So my day was, and I was trying to stay in character and really figure out how you go to your death, because that's the kind of actor I am. Like how that shock happens, how am I able to walk those few feet, what is the expression on my face? It was surreal for me that everyone was taking pictures and wanted to take pictures with me, and I was like, wait a minute, this is real, I'm about to die. So for me, it was very shocking at how we look at each other and accept the violence in our world.
Yeah, for me, I was there the last episode, and I mean the mood on the set. I mean, you have to imagine we were all just extremely proud of what we've accomplished. We knew we were going out great, even though I had no idea exactly how it was going to end. I knew.
Really, you didn't know how it was going to
Oh,
end when you filmed that last scene?
No, I didn't even know that I was pointing those laser pins at Gretchen and. I had no idea because they wouldn't let me see that part of the script, and I honestly didn't want to see that part, anything but what I did. Several different crew members were kind of like hinting about, yeah, well, we're gonna have to, there's a whole lot of blood in this next scene. They kept making up all these different kind of endings. But it was like everybody had a different story on how it was ending, and oh no, I shouldn't have said that. And I was like, I really now have no idea even what to think.
Walt turns into a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, it was they kept playing with it. But for me, it was Matt Jones, Badger, and I were talking, and he came. He was like, man, He's like, I really don't get that emotional at these kind of things. Everyone's like all sad and crying because they're gonna go, and it doesn't really bother me that much. And I was like, man, this is like the best job I've ever had. I am gonna bawl my eyes out. And so we finish, and we're walking back to our trailers after we finished, and he looks at me and he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't think I can. I'm about to lose it. This is weird. And I was like, oddly enough, I'm at peace. It was just like we just kind of switched roles there.
Was there any props, both of you, that you did keep? We won't tell on you.
Yeah, I kept one of the Walter White missing posters, one of those flyers that they had, because I found it in the trash. After we were shooting, I was like, I can take that. They aren't gonna miss that. And I think that's pretty much the only thing I actually.
What
brought
about you,
home.
Giancarlo?
I have a Los Pollos Hermanos coffee cup.
Yes.
Awesome.
I have a Beneke coffee cup. I have a box cutter. I have the jacket that I died in. I had to ask for that because that was a very expensive jacket. I knew they had two. And I also have my pea coat from the face off in the desert when Gus started to dress a little fine. And the way I got it, I'm gonna give you a little cute clue.
Yeah.
403, I'm walking down the hall, and I had asked the wardrobe gal, can I have the coat? No, you gotta ask Vince. So, and even if you ask Vince, he's probably gonna tell you gotta ask the producers, because he doesn't own it. So I'm walking to do a scene, and Vince had come to visit, but they're rushing me into the studio. Hey, Vince, how are you? Hey, I gotta ask you a quick question. The pea coat. I want the pea coat. So can I have it? And he, just say yes. Just say yes. Just say yes. He said yes. I walked into my scene. I didn't give him a chance to say anything else. I just kept putting in his yes, yeah, yes. Yeah, and I'm sure he had to pay for it on my behalf, but I got the goddamn coat.
So remember that.
Good
Okay,
lesson.
our next question.
Hi. I have a question for Charles Baker.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you this since the finale. How does it feel to be one of the best assassins west of the Mississippi?
It's pretty cool. I'll be honest. I didn't even realize I was that good. That's how good I was. It was awesome.
So if you weren't aware of what was going to happen, where did you watch the finale?
I watched it at the Hollywood Cemetery
Oh,
with
so you were
everyone
there with
else.
everybody.
Yeah, with Marilyn Manson and Ron Jeremy and the whole gang.
That always had to be weird.
That was weird. It was really cool.
So I don't know how you got in that group. Because the guy was sitting behind me. Owns all of these big companies. Warren Buffett. So you got the rockers.
Yeah.
I'm the rich guy.
A lot of people. I didn't even know this until the beginning of the last 8 at the premiere party that Aaron Paul had. He's been friends with Marilyn Manson since before anybody knew who Marilyn Manson was, too.
Really?
And so it was really neat to be able to rock god, cool. Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really kind of that's how I got to meet him.
That's a very cool party guest. Okay, next question. Oh, I think this is going to be one of our. This is our last question.
Oh no.
My name's Jamie, and my question is for both of you. Were y'all content with the way it ended, and did it end any way that you expected it to?
Yes and no. I didn't. I knew there was no way you can expect. I mean, there's no way. It's like I think about I try and imagine what's going to happen. I think of 2 or 3 different things. Here's what the writers are going to do, and then Vince and the writers go, "Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we're gonna do it right." I knew it was going to come out exactly the way it should have come out. I had no idea it was going to come out the way it did, and I'm thrilled with how it came out. Really.
I would agree. I'm very happy with the way it ended for a lot of reasons. I think a lot about our society as it is today. And Vince had always said in many, many interviews, he said that he had no sympathy for Walter White at all. And yet, what I saw in the ending was a Walter White who delivered an incredible performance by Bryan Cranston, who was more centered and more connected. And for those of you who haven't seen it, no real spoiler alert, but when he touched things, there was an extra moment where he really felt them. When he talked to people, he was connected more than ever. So I saw a man who was really looking at his whole life through the mirror image of every conversation he had. I was really pleased because I saw a glimmer of some kind of very, very hopeful and simmering epiphany of the human spirit. And that's what I loved. So I thought Vince most brilliantly left us with a beautiful investigation of Walter White as a human being, even though he lived such a cruel and harsh past for a number of years. I feel like Walter White, moved to another level in the finale, as did Jesse and all of the characters who weren't dead, were able to experience something that was never experienced on the show before. And I think that's what entertainment should do. It should not only be captivating and engrossing and entertaining, but it should also be thoughtful. And it should be something that allows us to take something away from the table, to take something where we think about it over and over again. And I think ultimately it has to be real and truthful, and I think that's what this show is.
If I could ask you both one last question, and then we'll be done. So, and Charles, I'll start with you. There were so many incredible moments throughout the entire series. What was your favorite moment ever from the show?
Oh.
It's a tough one, I know.
That's like, how do you pick one?
Oh, the showdown in the garage with Hank and Walt, definitely my favorite.
That was pretty fun. I was thinking back earlier, it got so great, it kept getting so great, you forget how many awesome moments happened earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The scene where he's in the desert being shot at and just going, "Come on!" Oh my God, that was just. It opened up a whole new side of Gus. I mean, he's quiet and reserved, and he's probably, if somebody started shooting, I was like, he'd be like, "Oh no!" He's like, "No, come on!" Like, wow, that kind of those moments that just kept happening. I mean, I don't think it's possible to pinpoint one from the beginning to the end. That was my favorite part.
Yeah.
There's so many moments for me too. It's very difficult to find one. I look for the cinematic moments. Because I was so convinced of all the realistic moments through the acting. One for me has to be, Walt down underneath the house in the crawl space, trying to find the money, and madly laughing, and the camera just comes all the way up from the crawl space, all the way up to the ceiling of the bathroom, while he's down there just no money, laughing his head off. Within that, he is sort of screaming for Skylar, but you don't hear any sound. That to me is just magic of filmmaking, and I think that they, all of the crew and Vince Gilligan's expertise and our wonderful cinematographers, Michael Slovis, they gave us a gift. A real gift, because we often think that a show is made up of great writing and great acting, but it's also the combination of great technology and great understanding of a visual medium, and I think that has to be one of my favorite moments.
Well, gentlemen, it has been an honor. You're both true artists. We're so grateful to have you both here today. Charles Baker, Giancarlo Esposito, thank you so much.
Thank you.